Welcome here. My name is Delilah if you are new, and I am coming back from my month-long break from YouTube. The last time you saw me, I was sitting in this exact same spot saying goodbye, and now we're here again minus the Christmas tree. But I feel like there has been a lot that has happened in the last month that I want to update you on. So I'm going to chat about where I've been, what I've been up to, what the Lord has been teaching me and showing me during this break. If you followed me on Instagram, you're probably aware of a lot of the things that I am going to share. I didn't take a complete break from social media. I did still have some responsibilities that I needed to keep up with on Instagram. I posted on Patreon a couple of times during my break as well, but this is the longest time in the last 8 years that I have gone without posting anything to YouTube, and it felt strange. It was honestly an adjustment to get used to not having that something in the back of my mind that I needed to do. There's so much I want to talk to you about. So today we're just going to sit down and chat about where I've been, what I've been up to, things that we've been doing. This break wasn't exactly what I expected it to be. It looked a lot different than I thought it would. And yeah, I'm gonna share all about that today. I did write down some notes yesterday because when I was thinking about filming this video, I didn't think that there was a lot to talk about because this last month, quite honestly, has been very uneventful. But when I started writing notes for this video, I realized there's actually a lot to share. Not that we've done a lot, but there's been things that the Lord has been teaching me through all of this, and there are other things that have gone on. So welcome, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, grab some laundry if you have some to fold, and let's just hang out for a little bit. Like I was saying, it felt really weird at first to not have the responsibility of YouTube. Over the last 10 years or so, my life has just progressively gotten busier and busier as I've taken on more responsibilities. Back when we were newlyweds, I didn't have a whole lot of responsibilities other than work and my home and my husband. Then we started having children, and obviously with each child comes greater responsibility. And then I started filming YouTube and became really consistent with that to make it grow. And then we moved to a bigger home, which took more time to clean. And then I started baking more meals from scratch, which is more responsibilities, more work. And so just over the years, I've progressively taken on more and more responsibilities. So to step back from those responsibilities and have less of them all of a sudden felt very, very strange. And I kind of struggled with idleness, which I anticipated. I know this about myself. If I don't have a goal, like something to work towards, something that I either have to work towards or really want to work towards, I will be lazy. I will become idle. There is a difference between resting and being lazy. I often find myself, even on Sundays, because we take Sundays to do no work and to rest, I find myself being very tempted to just sit like a sack of potatoes on the couch and watch TV all day. Not to say that there's anything wrong with watching TV or resting in that way, but I find for myself it's not healthy. It's not good for my mental health, it's not good for my well-being, it's not good for my spiritual health, and I miss out on so many fun activities that I really enjoy doing and I find rest in. I have a lot of hobbies. I'm kind of a grandma and I love to crochet. I always have. I love to puzzle, I love to bake and cook and spend time in the kitchen. I love to take care of my home and to organize. Cleaning is often restful for me as well. I love to be creative and work with my hands, and that was something that I really wanted to use this break for, was to rest in a way that wasn't on my phone or wasn't on a screen, on a TV. I did that for sure, but it was a struggle to not just get lazy. Like after that morning period where I'm with the kids and we're doing homeschooling and we've got these things going on, after lunch was done and cleaned up, for hours, I just found myself kind of sitting on the couch and not having the motivation to get up. Now, we were also coming out of a very, very busy season. October, November, December was probably the busiest season of our life. It was crazy, and I was suffering from some pretty extreme burnout and fatigue. We were also coming out of Christmas, which was wonderful, but also busy. And during that time, I was sick. I came down with a really, really nasty cold that had me out for a while. So a lot of my time off of YouTube was actually spent just not really doing a whole lot and not having a lot of motivation. Usually when the new year rolls around, I'm excited about the new year. I've got these goals and these resolutions and things I'm excited to work towards. This year I set no goals. I have found this month, especially January, to be a very sleepy month. I've said that a few times, but it really is. With the sun rising later and the cold and the snow, it's hard for me even just to get out of bed early in the morning. Like, I'm someone who loves to get up early in the morning, but when it's so dark and so cold, I don't have the motivation. So I have been allowing myself to sleep in more than I usually would. I've been allowing myself to go at a slower pace, to start school an hour later than I would like to. I've been giving myself that rest, that slowness that I know I need and my body craves right now. So the first few weeks of my break really was just spent being very slow. It felt like I was recovering from the burnout, and I probably was. I just struggled a lot with this lack of motivation. This week, I'm happy to report that I feel like I've finally turned a corner. I'm starting to get excited about things again. I'm starting to feel that motivation come back. Not that I'm waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning yet. Like, I'm still allowing myself that rest and that sleep, but I'm excited to actually be productive again. I'm excited to get back into work. I'm excited to start new routines and really just kickstart our year a little bit later than usual. We celebrated Zach's birthday last week, which was really nice. And for his birthday, we actually had a chance to go on a day date. This is a luxury that we have not had for so long, because the last 2 years, like I've said, have been so busy. Taking a break from YouTube allowed me some extra time to spend with my husband. We got to go antiquing while the kids were at Gammy's house, and it was so lovely. We got to just celebrate his birthday without feeling this pressure of all of these things that we need to get done. We were able to just slow down and actually enjoy time together without distraction. It was so nice. We had the opportunity to host friends and family more and to spend more time in our social life, and this is something we realized was really lacking from our lives. Because we both work from home, every spare moment that we have is poured into our work, which is a blessing because we get to choose our hours, we get to spend more time with our kids. You know, we've got that flexibility, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it is sometimes difficult when our spare time is taken up by work. And so being able to spend more time with friends and family made us realize how much we were missing that fellowship in our lives, that connection, that social aspect. And it's something that we realize we really want to start doing a whole lot more, especially in this next year. We want to host more. We want to have family and friends over for more dinners and just spend some really good quality time pouring into other people and having other people pour into us, and growing those relationships and connections. Now, of course, if that's something that we want to do, we also need to realize that there's going to be some sacrifices. I know there's going to be some changes in the way that I approach my work, so that I can free up more time for other things. I'm pretty sure in my goodbye video, I had mentioned that we wanted to start renovations, and I had talked about all these places in our home that we wanted to renovate. We have not done any of that. We have started to think about it. The last couple of days, Zach has started to remove some window trim and has started to replace some window trim, and that's pretty much as far as we've got. We did paint some sample paint on the laundry room wall, and we still have not chosen a color. We're still in the beginning stages, the thinking, the planning, but we did manage to move the kids' rooms around. So after Christmas, Annie started to sleep through the night, and this is kind of the moment that we had been waiting for. When we transitioned Theo. He was about 6 months old. We moved him from our room into a room shared with Eloise because we had no other bedrooms in our first home. And while it kind of worked, he just ended up in our bed all the time, which I didn't mind. Co-sleeping really was lovely. But it wasn't the easiest thing. And then with William, we kind of did the opposite. We waited too long. We transitioned him into a shared room with his siblings when he was 2 years old. And that was too late. He was so accustomed to sleeping on his own that it was just a really, really tough transition for everyone. So we've learned from our mistakes, and we've learned not to wait too long. We've learned not to do it too early. So we were waiting for Annie to be about 1.5, where she would be at that point where she was mostly sleeping through the night or totally sleeping through the night. And we reached that point. We felt comfortable transitioning her. And it has been great. The kids were so excited for this. The boys get to have a boys' room now. The girls get to have a girls' room. We've got 2 and 2, and it's so much fun. It was a little bit sad to say goodbye to the nursery because there are so many sweet memories attached to that room, but it has been really good, and I'm so glad that we did it. We chose the perfect time. Now I get to paint and decorate a little boys' room and a little girls' room, and we're so excited for that. I've been doing some planning and gathering inspiration. I think of all our renovations, that'll probably be the first thing that we tackle, hopefully sometime in the next month or so. What else did we do? I did a lot of puzzling and crocheting. There were a number of nights where normally I would sit down and edit, but I didn't have any editing to do, so I had some free time to just kind of spend with my husband. While he was busy doing his thing, I could just, sit in the room with him and crochet or puzzle or just kind of, be together, be in each other's presence, and that alone was so lovely. I'm not gonna lie, I entered the new year feeling pretty down about my work. Part of the reason why I wanted to take a break from YouTube was because it was starting to just feel really difficult. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but it was just feeling really disheartening. I didn't really know what the future held, and I didn't know what God's plans were for me here. But I knew God would provide. He has provided time and time again. He is faithful, and I know I can trust him and lean on him, even if he provides in a way that I completely did not expect. And so I just laid it all at his feet, and I just prayed and let it go and tried to just enjoy the break. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, things started happening. The sponsorship started rolling in, the exact ones I had been praying for, and things just kind of started shaping up for 2025. And I am so grateful. He is so faithful and he is so good. And so it is very clear that this is still where he wants me, and so I have exciting plans for this year on YouTube and then with other things as well. Something else that we have been working on this month quite a lot is something secret that I cannot tell you just yet. I've been hiding the secret for a very long time. I've been mentioning it here and there. I know a lot of you are wondering what it is. No, I am not pregnant. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. But this is something really huge for our family, something that I've been praying about for years. I cannot wait to share it with you. My battery died. I should just change that real quick. It's been a while since I've filmed. So far, nobody has guessed what our big announcement is, and I don't think anybody will guess. It's pretty crazy. The whole story is crazy. Just such a testimony of God's provision and providence, and it's wild. And I'm so excited to share the story with you and share the announcement with you. I'm hoping and praying that we can officially announce this in the next month or two. So keep an eye out for that. Stay tuned. If you want to be the first to know, follow me on Patreon, because my Patreon members get all of my YouTube videos ad-free and early. So what has God been teaching me over this break? There's been a few things that he's laid on my heart. First of all, Proverbs 14 verse 1, which says, "The wise woman built her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down." I've realized that I as the homemaker have the ability to make my home a blessing or a curse. I've been reading in Proverbs as well. Last year I read the whole Bible through. I read through the Old Testament once and the New Testament twice and Psalms twice. This year I want to go through and study scripture a little bit more deeply in more detail and really soak in and observe what I'm reading. I've started to read through Proverbs. I've also been reading through Esther. And I've just been learning so much about God's providence and plans for us, the way that He works things out according to His perfect plan. And then also learning about wisdom and gaining wisdom and the importance of wisdom and taming the tongue. Proverbs 3 verse 33 says, "The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but He blesses the dwelling of the righteous." This time off, recovering from burnout and sickness, made me realize just how much my attitude has an impact on my home. This could be a whole video in itself, and I probably will share a whole video talking about this and my thoughts and things that the Lord has been teaching me, but I've been praying over myself, praying that I would have wisdom to address each issue that arises with the children, each squabble, each fight, that I would have the patience and endurance to address it from a biblical perspective and to be patient and wise with the words that I'm using, that I would not be a babbling fool, as Proverbs says. Proverbs 10 verse 19 says, "Sin is not ended by multiplying words, but the prudent hold their tongue." So I've been praying that the Lord would hold my tongue and that I would be able to address each situation with grace and patience, that I would have compassion and love toward my children and my husband and an attitude of joy, because each day is a blessing. Today is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And so just been working on my attitude, trying to kick the ingratitude and complaining in the butt. And during this break, I realized how selfish my motives were. I wanted to take this break for me so that I could rest, I could sit, I could do what I wanted to do. And while I obviously needed some time, there are a number of people in our lives going through some really tough stuff right now. We've watched dear friends and family walk through loss and grief and suffering. It breaks my heart. And God has really opened my eyes to see just how selfish I was being. And instead of using this time solely for myself, He used my extra time to serve others. I just felt such a tugging at my heart to care for and love on these people who are going through some really rough stuff. And so I spent a lot of my time off of YouTube actually in the kitchen, preparing food and cooking and praying over these people, doing what I can do. I realized that if I hadn't taken this break, I wouldn't have been able to care for these people in the way that I was able to this month. And so that was such a blessing for me and for others as well. Clearly that was God's plan all along. He knew this was going to happen, and He knew that I would have the extra time to love on these people. And I can't help but wonder how many other people have walked through such suffering and loss, have walked through some hardships, and I have looked the other way because I've been so busy over the last number of years. How many more people could I have offered prayer and help and comfort to, but I didn't see it because I was too preoccupied with what I was doing. And I know what I've been doing here on YouTube and really pouring a lot of myself into is not in vain, because many of you have reached out to me through emails or comments, DMs, even letters telling me how my videos have impacted your lives, how the Lord has used this space to bless you immensely. And so I know that this time hasn't been in vain, but I also know that I need to reprioritize things here. And I've always known this. I've always said my family is my priority, but have I really practiced what I preach? I don't think so. And so it is time for me to really put my focus on my family and those around me and care for those who need caring for. I am coming back to YouTube. I'm doing weekly videos once again, but there are going to be some tweaks and changes that I'm making in order for me to not be spending as much time working on all of this and to have more freedom to be there for the people in my life who need me, to pour myself into my family and my husband and my home, into my church, into my friends. There are so many areas in my life that are very important to me that I haven't given enough attention to over the last number of years. God has made that also very clear to me over this break, and I was hoping and praying He would, because I knew I needed to reprioritize things. And so we're working through that, and we're trying to figure out what the changes are and how I can make this all work, and I'm praying for wisdom. If you could pray for me as well, I would really appreciate that. I want to let you know that there will likely be more breaks in the future, not necessarily month-long breaks from YouTube, but here and there when I know I need to take like a week off, I will be taking a week off and not thinking so much about it. I'm going to allow myself to let go and prioritize things appropriately. But I'm so excited to see what God has in store for us this year. There are some big things going on that I cannot wait to share. So please let me know in the comments what you want to see more of from me this year. I always love hearing from you and getting your feedback. Thank you all so much for your love and support over the years. It means so much to me, and I cannot thank you enough. I'm going to end this video here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.